Intros and outros, and a lot of people have very strong opinions on this, as do I. Some people say you should make a long intro saying everything your podcast does. The problem with that is once you've listened to episode 64 and you've been forced to sit through a 30-second to 60-second intro saying, "Hey, this is Dave Smith's podcast. Oh, well, we've got some great stuff coming up today. I'm an audio engineer." And then, yeah, I know, oh, you've got some music in the background. It's a really long thing, and you just want to skip it. I mean, you don't need to know that 600 times. Now, there's a good argument for it, of course, which is that newcomers to your podcast don't really know what it's about, and the intro can tell them. But my personal take on this, and I don't think you're a bad person if you disagree with this. My personal take on this is that all the podcasts that I really like, none of them, well, almost none of them, have an intro. And the reason for that is because I think the negatives outweigh the positives. People should be able to listen to your podcast for a little while and get an idea of what it's about and what it's like from the context of listening to it. Should be obvious. If you're making quality content, it should be obvious from listening to your podcast for a while, from the episode description, what it's about. I think if you're going to do an intro to a podcast or a YouTube video, or like I've done on the Lazy Podcaster course, I'm practicing what I preach, it should just be a very small logo animation that goes bling bling bling. Then the logo and maybe a tagline that says what the video or podcast is and what it's about. The Lazy Podcaster, zero effort podcasting. Told you a lot, but it's not a 30-second or 60 seconds people have to listen to. So should you do an intro or not? Probably not would be my take on it, but some people want to, and if you want to, fine. I'm slightly hypocritical on this at the moment because I do a short ad at the beginning of my Lazy Digital Nomad on Fire podcast. It is a very short ad, but yeah, there's a number of reasons why that might be bad, because people don't want to listen to an ad, even though it's short. So I'll probably remove that. So should you do an intro or not? Who knows? An outro, I think, is much more defensible because it's right at the end. So if people don't want to listen to it, they can just turn off. And then you can put a lot more information in an outro, such as where to, what your website is, how to contact you, if you have donations on Subscribestar and things like that. An outro is much more defensible. Now, another thing to consider is music. There's a lot of royalty-free sites where you can download music that you don't have to pay for, or that you pay a little bit for up front and then can use however you want. We'll go through those later on. So I think music might be a pretty good idea. You could even go as far as having your own theme tune custom made, but I wouldn't recommend that at the beginning. If no one's listening to your podcast, it doesn't really matter, does it? So keep it simple. Maybe you don't need one at the start, an intro or an outro. Maybe you can add one later. Something relevant to this as well is if you're using Anchor on the website, you can drag in previously used clips from your library, and this will make it quite easy to add an intro and an outro to new episodes you record. If you use the Lazy Podcaster software, this will let you batch add intros and outros to any podcast you have. So you can upload, say, 30 episodes, and your intro and outro will already be in our system. Press a button, it will convert everything to MP3 and download them all as files with an intro and or an outro on, whatever you want. So that could be a useful tool for you. We'll talk about that more later on. So that's intros and outros. Outros, probably yes. Intros, maybe not, but some people like them.